Okay. Hold on a minute. Why are you doing this?
You worry about
Okay,
other stuff.
all right. We're live, and we're live. We're just gonna go live today without the introduction, but we should be live on Facebook in about 35 seconds when it gets to Facebook, and we should be live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. And come join us. I'm sure you'll find us there. And
You're live.
There it is. The red circle is there. We are there on Facebook, and we are there on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel. So come join us in the live chat, and we'll have a whole lot of fun. Let's see. Jerry Michaels was invited. Nikki Young was invited. Jen Woodruff was invited. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Michael Anthony was invited. Anybody who's around. Otherwise, it's just you and I, but we'll be able to do it. April Fool's pranks that you remember. Any good ones?
Oh no, I don't. No, I don't trust anybody on this date. I don't trust anything I see or hear. So, I guess I just don't participate in it.
The best one I have heard all time, because several Democrats' heads across the country all exploded in unison. It was so beautiful that evidently Doge sent out a press release at 3 a.m. this morning that said every Republican in the United States of America is getting a $1 million stimulus check.
I did, no fool. I did go out and vote in our primary or in our election today in Wisconsin.
You did?
Yes.
Yeah. You voted Republican, I assume.
Yeah, so frickalutely.
All right. Well, and then the only other thing I heard news-wise is that over in the House of Representatives today, a bill that would allow proxy voting, which means that if a member cannot be at a committee meeting or on the floor, another member could carry that member's proxy in and vote for them. And evidently, the Democrats and a bunch of rhinos defeated it from passing. I don't understand why, because if you know that you're not going to be there and you have someone you trust who can carry your proxy in, why don't you send your vote in? Because as Speaker Johnson said, it's just going to slow it down, because now a bunch of votes that he had planned for this week can't happen because there are a bunch of representatives who are missing in action, I guess. So
I could see how that could be, mishandled, though, also.
Yep, I do too.
I mean, we're paying these people to be there. Damn it, they should be there.
We are. Well, they should, but I believe the proxy system was not created with any ill reasons other than making sure that members' votes got there and things carried on in a timely fashion. William Grant is watching us, and Chuck is here, and I'm here on the Boogie with the Bull side. No one watches us on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube. We just have it there to make sure that there is someplace on the internet where you can get it. Today being April 1st, the March 1st editions of Boogie with the Bull that are saved on my profile or anywhere else on Facebook will disappear probably about midnight tonight. I also know that on April 3rd, the 3rd of March, broadcasts will disappear. And that's how it's going to be from now on, every 30 days. The month before will disappear so that the month that we're in will have 30 days, because that's just the way Facebook wanted to confuse everybody. William Grant, I see you there. Robin Brunson is watching, and you're welcome to join us in the live chat. Robin, anybody who has a good April Fool's prank, you're welcome to come into the live chat and share it with us. And if you're not or don't want to be limited to there, you're welcome to come on to the broadcast and share it live. I don't know
Right.
if people are going to join us or if we're just going to be us. And
There we got William Grant just popped in.
yep, William Grant just popped in, and Robin Brunson just popped in, and Robin says Hondas and Chuck. And Chuck, are you expect bad weather tonight in Wisconsin? Are you expecting bad weather tonight, Chuck?
I don't think tonight. So, well, maybe after midnight, but tomorrow is the alert day for us here.
Okay.
We're gonna have 2 rounds come through, and I think tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening will be the brunt of the storm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I invited Julie and Jodell to come in and
yep.
visit us with the chat again tonight, and
Yep.
haven't seen them yet, but
I had trouble getting my my live chat monitor to work. Let me see if I can throw out a gazillion shares and bring people in to watch. Facebook has made this a little more difficult than it used to be. I used to be able to just go down the list and bang 150 groups and then hit post, and everybody was invited. But now it's of 10, so it takes like 15 tries to do that. Jane O'Malley is watching. Jane, you're welcome to come in and tell us April Fool's pranks that you remember that were particularly good and or not particularly good. Let me take another look here, and we'll just do some things very quick, and see if we can. Oops, don't want to do that one. Do that one. Do that one. I'm going to hit that one. So that's a bunch. We'll send those out and see.
I'll be right back, Dave.
Okay, Chuck, we'll be right back. I think what I'm going to do is do it the old-fashioned way. Go down the list, and as I see you, I will send a link to you. There. One. All right, let me send those. I do have to take a dive bomb here for a second and go over here and check something. All right, Jerry Michaels just sent it out, so hopefully a lot more people will see when we're here, and we'll wait and see who else joins us. But I still think that one tonight or this morning that Republicans were going to get $1 million stimulus check is particularly good because every Democrat on earth that heard it, who was awake on the internet at 3:00 in the morning, just went crazy trying to figure out why they weren't going to get one. And that's just because no one's going to get one. No one's going to get $1 million check.
Yeah. Just make sure they pay the damn taxes on it.
Yeah. Just make sure they pay the taxes on it. Michael Anthony is going to try to join us in a few minutes. He has an errand that he has to run, and in the meantime, I will just stand here and do my famous. Oh no! Wait a minute. I don't have to do my famous. I just have to do my famous.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hit that, and bring Mr. Jerry in.
Oh, hey.
There he is.
For some reason, I'm as huge as the screen. I don't know why that happens here, but anyway, okay. I have a fat head.
Well, that's okay. So do the rest of us.
Oh, good. Then I'm not alone. How you doing, guys?
You're not alone.
How you, Dave?
I'm doing good. Chuck seems to be doing good. What I figured we'd do is just throw it out, and anybody who has any good April Fool's pranks they remember or want to comment about, or or come on and share with us, you're all more than welcome to do that. That just seemed to be what to do tonight. Did you hear that at 3 o'clock this morning, Doge sent out a press release that said every Republican was going to get $1 million check, and I guess Democrats are going crazy because they actually believed it, and then they realized it was April 1st.
That's funny.
Well, I didn't appreciate that joke at all. I wanted my $1 million.
Yeah, so did I. So did I.
There's no government programs for that shit for a white guy.
What would you do with $1 million check from
I get a new house for my wife and put it up across the yard. That'd be about $100,000.
Yeah.
Buy a new truck and buy a tractor, and then you put up a better fence to keep other humans out. There you have it.
There you have it. What would you do, Chuck?
What would I do with $1 million?
What would you do with $1 million?
I don't know. I'd pay it forward to a lot of people that need it more than I do.
Yeah.
Okay, send it to my house. I need it more than you.
That's just but you're already getting $1 million.
Okay, well, if everyone else is, why not send it to Jerry?
Right.
There's
a flaw in your plan, Chuck. There's no Jerry involved.
You always have to piss on my parade, Jerry.
No, I don't. But I'm trying to put some sunshine on mine. But I know $2 million is better than $1 million.
He doesn't have to piss on your parade, but for $1 million, I'm sure he'd be glad to.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It wouldn't be the footnote. No, let's not go there. No.
Yeah, that's going into some weird territory there, Dave.
Yeah, I guess it was. Jimmy Collins is here. Robin Brunson is here. Jolene Kirkland Foster is here. And based on that last one, a lot of people might not be here.
That's true. Way to
go. So anyone watching, come help me say something in the live chat.
Dave, this knows how to clear a room. He really does.
I do. Yeah. Jimmy Collins says he would pay the house and the car off and live modestly.
Oh, I'm not building a house. I'm just putting a double wide on here because I'm trailer trash and I know it. It's about time I started living that way. Live like a high-end trailer trash. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to look for somebody in the live chat. Hold on.
As a matter of fact, the trailer would be used because you can get a used one. The $100,000 is because you got to put in a pad, you got to have a new septic tank run, which is now, get this, about $15,000.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the electric has to be run from where it's at to the house, which is probably another. I would guess $2,000, $3,000, probably $5,000 to go. I believe it's somewhere around 100 foot. Yeah, it's you know how the power company is, and then have it hooked up to the house, and after that, the trailer itself. I don't know, probably it's going to be $85,000 to $95,000 for a double wide. And my wife will have something better than she's got now. Because I could live in this the rest of my life, and although I'd bitch and moan about it, I wouldn't really give a shit.
Don't forget to buy yourself a good creeper so that when you have to work underneath it,
Well, no, see, here's the beautiful thing: it'd be concrete under there, no sand, and more importantly, no snakes, because snakes don't like concrete.
That's what I'm saying is you buy yourself a creeper so you can just lay on your back and.
Well, the way I would do it is make it to where the trailer is level, unlike now. Now it is level with cinder blocks from the ground to the top. So at one end I can kneel and almost, sit up, which is fine. The other end is hard to turn over. So, because everything on his property runs downhill.
Jimmy.
Senior
Yeah, they could
trailer on
have
a
two
set.
floors.
Trailer on a set of blocks, 10 high, boom, 2-story home. It's either that or I'd build one out of shipping containers, because I got to tell you, them damn things, they'd be good in a hurricane, them things.
Yeah.
Put them all together, bolt them or weld them together.
Probably
Yeah.
bolt and weld.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what the bolts would cost. Holy crap. Because you can't just go to the Ace Hardware.
No, I don't think they make them quite that big there. Yeah. Or stock them that big, I should
Yeah,
say.
so and they'd have to be welded, I would guess. And then you'd have to cut out for windows. Me personally, I could go with a house without windows. I really don't care. I put cameras up. That's good enough for me to have a wall of freaking TVs going. That don't bother me, but my wife would bitch and moan about no windows, even though the fucking curtains are closed on every single one of them with blinds.
Yeah, well, that's just the thought.
Then put curtains in her. Put windows in her room. I mean, I don't know.
First of all, it would have to be something where our room would have to be one of the shipping containers, because she has so many clothes that you have to get like pry bars and jacks and stuff to move the clothes aside so you could put anything in there. And then there's the shoes on the floor that you got to kind of reach in because you got to reach over them. And it's not a very big closet, and all my shit takes up about 1.5 foot space. As a matter of fact, I took all my jeans out to give her more room, put them in a drawer, and she filled that up too. She has drawers that you need a jackhammer to open. I swear to God.
We would need a room with very large closets, and my wife would be able to put all the yarn that she ever needs.
Well, yeah.
In
crafting, right?
In there, and maybe even crafted something really cool that she could just like go in and say, "I need a skein of," and all of a sudden, like a dry cleaner, you'd hear everything go rip, zzz, spin around, and
why not? $1 million bucks. That's actually not as hard as you think. They have that shit. They have it for closets, for clothes. Actually, they have that shit.
Yeah.
Me personally, most of my shirts are literally from. Like, I got the newest shirt I got is probably 10 years old. Button up and down and long sleeves, and I don't wear that shit.
How about a screened-in porch with a pool for you, Jerry? Or is that too much?
I had a pool in Vero and spent nothing but time putting chlorine and fixing the pump and all that bullshit. No more.
Like if you had the $1 million, you could just pay somebody.
Yeah, no, I don't want to. I don't know, Chuck. You missed the point. See, I do it myself, and I don't like people here doing things for me. It just there's going to come a day where that's going to have to happen. It just ain't come yet because I'll be too old. But I do not like it when I got to pay people to come do shit I can do.
A screened-in porch with a screened-in porch with lots of windows. If we were in a quiet area that I could make a studio, would be a great idea. Or just windows so that I could open curtains as the sun is coming up and have sun.
What that is, Dave, is that would get very, very hot. And air conditioning a porch is not a cheap venture.
That's probably true.
You would be better off with a garage and with a window unit so that you can turn the window unit on. But then you just have a laptop. It'd be perfect for you. You pick the laptop up, go in the house. I couldn't do that with the PC.
Well, I don't think I would. I wouldn't be on the laptop for broadcast anymore. I think I'd set up a desktop.
Well, then you'd have problems. The air would have to be on all the time. I thought about getting a shed just for that. this or building a shed, but then you start thinking about how much it's going to cost because running electric to a shed from a house is not hard. All you need is
Yeah.
its own, probably two of its own circuits, because like here I got like 6 plugs up on the wall over here,
Yeah.
and I ran all that off a single circuit in my box. So, but and believe well, it's a good thing if I didn't live in a trailer, running electric would be a lot more difficult because I can just go underneath the house and bring the wire down and then bring it back up. If you have to run it through the
Right.
attic, not only are you going to be, and I've been in attics before, and I'm not the type of human that should be in an attic because I'm big and it's hot. And I don't care. You could have 800 fans going on the roof. That shit is still 140 degrees up there.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be up there because I'm afraid of what might be up
Nothing.
there.
There's
Yeah.
fiberglass usually. Yeah, nothing really lives in fiberglass, but it is hot. And if you slip off one of the rafters, you may find yourself in the living room on the quick route, which I have actually done.
Yeah.
I put my foot through, and it came out in the bedroom, which was neat. And my wife came home. My
Ouch.
first wife came home, and she looked up, and she just looked at me, and I was like, "How you done?"
I'm
I
home.
did it.
Wow.
What kind of truck would you buy, Jerry,
Ford.
if you went off and bought a new one?
Ford, probably F-250. Something with real 4-wheel drive, off the ground, and then I'd probably buy a smaller vehicle so my wife could, I could get my wife because she wouldn't get an F-250. That would be hard for her. She has a hard time getting in my truck, and it is 4-wheel drive, but it's got street tires on it, and it's not lifted or anything.
Right.
But no more
Biggest
Dodges,
Ford
no
truck
more Rams. I'm tired of Rams, and it would be used. And the tractor would be probably from the early 1970s because they still run.
You wouldn't buy a new
Nope.
truck?
Not for what they're asking. Hell no. Hell no.
Oh, that's true.
But it would be a truck where I don't have to have no add-ons. There's a hole in the firewall where you can put wires through to put add-ons in your vehicle. Most cars have it. Mine is so full I can't get another wire in there. So, because I have a backup camera I put in, and then I also put in a second fuse box in the back. What else? I got automatic locks. I got a power inverter. I got what else? I don't know, a bunch of other shit. I put a tailgate assist in the back because I noticed as I got older the tailgate got heavier and I didn't like it falling on me. So that's beautiful, really. That's the simplest thing. It's just a shock, but it's really nice. What else? Extra lights, footlights on the floor in the front, and then I'm working on how to do it in the back because there's no connectors, which suck. But I made my own for the ones in the front, but actually I didn't really make them as much as I welded them, or not welded them, soldered wires to the connector, to the actual lights, and stuck them in there. But it's very nice to get in the truck at night and see the floor.
Cool. Very cool.
Jerry, the jack of all trades.
Well, you know what it is?
Got to be though.
Yeah, and running wires in especially DC is it's only two. The hot and the cold. And I got switches all over the place for shit. I got my fog lights, that kind of stuff. And even in the house where it's 3 wires, it's not that hard. It's really not. The hard part is running the wire. After that, it's good. Now you look at my ceiling or some of the walls in this, there's freaking patches everywhere. But I customized the house. So my wife used to sit in her chair. She's got like six plugs about head high sitting behind her for all the stuff she had. And now she doesn't sit in the chair anymore. So they're just there. So there's no way to sell this house anymore. There's nothing. I got put under my TV. I got six plugs for all the stuff, and then I'm building a shelf to put for all my all the boxes and shit, and the surround sound speaker and everything, and there, and then in the back room it's the same thing. And I did all that. I also ran the wires for the for where the router is, and then the phone to the back because she needs the phone back there, and it comes off of the internet, so it comes off the route. This one comes off the router. The other one had a wire going from the router to a tiny box that had to be set, and then it would go from there. A phone wire would go from there to the freaking phone. So I've spent a lot of time under my house. I found my knife I lost like 4 years ago under there. Uh,
Ah,
Laying right on top of the ground, and it's blue, so I don't know how the fuck that happened. I didn't see it.
ah.
But yeah, I found it.
Hmm.
More slot machines,
Yeah.
Chucky. Chainsaw Chuckies.
Oh yeah, there's an I. Thank you for the idea, Dave. Yes, I like the way you think.
Any
Yeah, I would probably. Yeah, I'd get some pinball machines and slots,
yeah.
and yeah, that'd be good. And a
Pinball
jukebox,
machine would be
with
cool.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pinball.
Damn, I never even
Here's
thought of
the
that. I was
problem
thinking of
though, the
other people
house.
instead of
If you
myself.
have a girlfriend or a wife, all your shit ends up in one room or the garage. One of them two.
Right.
Everything that I own other than this computer pretty much is in the barn or the shed. Because she won't allow me to
Right.
have certain things in the house, like my engine hoist or I don't know, the mowers or something. I don't know. See, if you're a guy, you don't care about that shit. They're
Right.
safe. They're out of the weather. You're good.
Oh,
Yeah. I remembered. I remembered the second wife there that she went to college to be an accountant, and things were kind of not going so well. So, anyways, I had some other lady come over to the house, and nothing happened that night. And she looked around and she goes, "Do you live here?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Where?" Everything in the house was, women. She had home decorating shit on the walls, and all this stuff. She says, "Where is there anything that says that you
Yeah.
live here?" And I said, "Well, I got a picture of me and my daughters down in the basement."
okay.
She said, "Yeah, great." And then I had a little room down in the basement. That it was a finished basement, very well, nicely finished and everything. And that's where I had my computer, and that was my space. That was it. So that
Jesus.
and we didn't sleep in the same bed because my snoring kept her up all night.
Okay.
So I was in the second bedroom, and it was all decorated with pretty flowered. I don't know what the hell you call them, but banners that you
Oh,
want to. Oh my god!
borders. Borders.
Yeah, yeah, boys. And I looked at her and I said, "You're right. I guess I don't live here."
Well,
You know,
like my wife's mother died, all her mother's furniture came here. Because it was old, it was nice furniture, well built, and it's sitting. I got it. It goes all the way down the wall, all the way down the hallway, almost to the back door. And in there is every knickknack my wife has ever collected. Um, let's see. My shit is I have a 1927 Singer sewing machine frame. It's raw, cast iron. I put a piece of glass over the top of it, and that's where some of my shit is. And the other side is a $3 freaking end table I bought, one of them 2-story ones, and all my other shit is there. And then everywhere else is pretty much yeah, everything's in the barn. As a matter of fact, and like I built a big ass 8x6 closet right here in the living room because we had a huge ass living room for some freaking reason. And he was like yelling to somebody on the couch. I don't know. So we built this. And our living room now tiny, but then I'm the only one who sits in there anyway, so it doesn't matter. So everything in the free world that we can't get rid of is in this room and that closet, even though we don't ever use it or have anything to do with it. And my tools for the house. And I've noticed over the years, I looking for shit in the barn. I know I can't find it. That's because they're in the house. Because I don't like going to the barn when I'm working in the house. It screws up my whole intensity level.
Right, because by the time you get to the barn, you forgot what the hell you were going out there for.
Yes, that is a thing, actually. And a thing that is often. Anyway, Dave?
Anyway,
go ahead, Dave.
Mr. Michael Anthony is here with us today. And as I said, I was going to ask people to bring their favorite April Fool's prank, and the one that seems to be my favorite is, I guess, at 3 a.m. this morning, Doge sent out a press release saying that only Republicans were going to get $1 million stimulus check. And you could hear probably every Democrat's head explode in a 1,000,000-mile radius of that because they were all upset that they weren't getting one until they realized that today was April Fool's. But any good ones stick out in your mind?
Baron Trump came out as gay.
Oh, that had to be a good one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Holy shit, it's snowing here.
Oh,
really?
I kid you not.
Oh, any good ones on your end, Michael?
Nope. Really haven't seen anything today. I was actually quite amazed, thinking, okay, finally everybody grew up.
Yeah.
April Fools. They'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, God. My birthday is tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, happy
Tomorrow's my birthday.
I grew up with April Fool's Day being April 1st, and as you know, in middle school, kids will find anything. They don't care how stupid it is to make fun of you, and that's how I spent my entire middle school career, being made fun of because of April Fool's. And I often wondered what it was like to be someone born on April 1st, because I mean, why would they have a party? Because nobody'd show up and then scream April Fool's on the second.
This is true.
Anyway.
Yeah, pranks.
Yeah.
No one pulled any pranks on me. Well, maybe Jimmy Church did today. I'm not sure. He had a post up saying, and I made a comment to him, and a couple other people that I know made comments back. But his thing was that it's finally come to the point for him to move on, retire, and take on, because it's been offered to him, bigger television. I'm thinking, okay, after 10 years, 50,000 interviews, or whatever it is for a week for the past 10 years. I mean, it's astronomical with the hours that he put in. He hasn't responded back because I think Anthony Sanchez, book author from he's wrote a couple good books, actually. All book writers write good books. They try their best, no matter where the information comes from. But I think it was Highway 51, something like that, had to do with Area 51 UFOs and so forth. But I don't have that in front of me right now. It's up on the bookshelf. But nevertheless, so I don't know if it's a joke that he's really going to do it. So again, maybe tomorrow he'll put the big April Fools up. Maybe that none of that's really going to happen. He didn't make any announcements in Sedona, which he was just there at like a conference retreat for UFOs and all this stuff this past weekend. So I don't know. I don't think anybody got me yet. you know. But then Brad Olson puts up behind him, so I guess he's thinking like I am that it's obviously true in some way. He put up when one door closes, another one opens. Most of us, I think, took him serious to be doing this, and I don't know if it's factual, but if it is, congratulations to him. I hope it goes well into his future, and you know, he's already got his feet planted into Gaia and Forbidden Knowledge with Billy Carlson and all those guys. So I'm talking about some of the bigger leaguers, like the Baseball Hall of Fame of podcasters and so forth. But I don't know. I didn't see anything at all. I was waiting for Chuck to post something to take his hat off today.
I told Dave earlier that I just don't get into this. You know, I don't trust anything on April 1st. And
I guess when you turn 68, it's all over.
Yeah, no shit. And then I did go out and vote today, though. I did go out and vote. But,
you should lay down before you fall down, Chuck. That's what that's.
But Jimmy Collins brings up Cory Booker, and I'll read this. What do you guys think of Cory Booker's so-called filibuster? But then I want to add that didn't one of Cory's staffers get nailed with a gun at the Capitol today that is evidently unregistered? I don't know if it's unregistered or just, you know, evidently showed up to work this morning with a gun and supposedly caused a whole lot of trouble.
I haven't heard either one, so I couldn't tell you. Cory Booker is a fucking moron, and a gay moron at that, and doesn't have the balls to stand up and admit it. And anything he says sounds like Charlie's Brown teacher when it reaches my ears. So,
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah.
I don't know. What was the filibuster over? Something good for us, you know, that doesn't cost much and maybe we could make $1 off of. That's usually what he's whining about, old Spartacus himself.
Yeah.
Right.
You have any idea what he was whining about, Michael?
I had to work today. In between work, I was trying to do some posts. So, no, I didn't catch up to that yet. Okay. I'll try to do my best. Otherwise, if I had, I'd have probably been on for my, you know, weekly review of the Donald J. Trump News Team Network thing I do. But doesn't look like I'll be ready for that until like Thursday. And then this weekend, I'll be busy. But not only that, I'll be doing some things with Eric Dagmeyer down in Los Angeles. So we'll be sending some things via streaming and, you know, just things. I'm not here to promote that, but so that's coming up. It's going to be a long week. I may not even get to it, to be honest with you, but I mean, really, who cares when it comes down to it? Because it's so punishing to our minds, on our minds, in our heads, and through our ears, that all these things that we just see the future turning back into 2020 anyway. But again, everything is important. And support by doing shows does help people to some degree. But, you know, I sent Jerry a little memo this morning, like, look, 24, 36 hours, whatever it was, the views. But that was only on Facebook. That wasn't overall everything. And they were like over a few hundred over, I think it's a 2,400 over, like, you know, whatever, the past few hours. And it's like, well, that's really good because people are really acknowledging what I've been thinking, that they need a break. They want to go down a different road. They want to talk about the unexpected, the strange, the mysterious, the lost, and all that stuff. And every once in a while, I think I'm obligated, and we should all be obligated in some way, to try to share some information that takes our mind in a different direction. It's all knowledge. So anyway, all good stuff. It was a good outcome though for a first run of it.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
Some asshole in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. He's 63 years old, grown man, running around throwing screws and nails in people's driveway who voted for Trump.
Well, I know about a lot of broken glass being in people's driveways that voted for him. That's something that Pittsburgh's experiencing right now. People are just taking jars up where they enter into their like little gravel type entranceways and so forth, and just, you know, pouring broken glass. And as soon as you enter your driveway, you know, puncture, rupture, cut, split, whatever. So yeah, I hear you. That is going on, and as well as the city And some of the outsourced suburban areas are now, as I sent some people a clip of a picture that's going on where they're actually, painting yellow lines like a roller coaster going up the road just to divert the potholes.
Yeah.
To help them to divert potholes. Are you joking? But hey, we're in a new age, people. We really are. And it's the biggest capital FU up that it could be.
Yeah.
When do we grow up, if ever?
Well, that depends on who you're talking to, I guess. Everybody has a different whatever, and we're all judged for it. I mean, I've been told to grow up. I've been told to shut up. But it is what it is. You put it up with it, you tolerate it, and you find out who your real friends are, went through it and whatnot, and how important that is.
Well,
keep rocking, man, in the free world. That's all I can tell you.
There's a Colorado bill that will classify misgendering and dead naming as child abuse, not
good.
No, not giving them hormones and the rest of it. That's fine, but misgendering and dead naming. Oh God, please. Georgia banned males from girl sports, so we got that going for us.
And then I don't know if you guys heard this one, but I mean, it kind of coincides with everything we suspected from 2020. If you really connect the dots, and how could you not? When most of the same people that were dead that voted for Biden were actually the ones receiving Social Security checks. Yeah. Wow, isn't that impressively amazing? How could that even be true?
Yeah.
I don't understand how Democrats who claim to be somewhat intelligent could believe that there is actually a 330-year-old human being collecting Social Security, a person who is like 100 years older than the system.
That's because they've all been indoctrinated into these universities. That's the way it is.
Well, here's some good news. Trump may reverse ghost gun restrictions.
Wow.
Remind me what a ghost gun is.
When you buy it from the guy next door. And that kind of shit.
Right. That's right.
Changes hands 9,000 times. You never know who owns it. Basically, the ghost part is the government don't know who owns it.
Right.
You should not know who owns it. There's a whole bunch of different categories of them, but that's generally the thing. Because the government doesn't like it when you own guns and they don't know it.
Here in Wisconsin, it is legal. I could go to my next door neighbor and sell him my gun that's on my hip right now if I wanted to, and no paperwork.
That's the thing. We have been brainwashed into thinking that state laws somehow doesn't trump, federal law. That's the thing. States are sovereign states. We can have our own goddamn laws and screw the federal government. And you can tell that now by a lot of the immigration laws being passed in red states. A lot of the, like for instance, Colorado, or not Colorado, what the hell was it? Hold on a second. With the ghost guns and states are filing briefs backing Trump's use of Alien Enemy Act. Georgia bans males from girls' sports. And that's a federal law. Whatever the number on it is, I don't know. But they're using the one that gave girls equality in sports to allow guys to be in girl sports, which, I'm sorry, from the start does not make any sense whatsoever. And that's why eventually it will fail. But the way to make it fail sooner is these girls are going to have to just go out to whatever they're doing. And when it's ready to start, just walk off. That's what's going to have to happen. The thing Riley Gaines did by competing against this guy and then winning or tying him for the, national championship. And he got the trophy. She should have, the minute she was done, should have went to the press about that. Instead of waiting. Many of them should have just let him win all by his lonesome and not raced him at all. I know it's a big sacrifice, but I have been saying this for years. It is going to take sacrifice from every damn one of us. And we have been sacrificing for the last, years now, and especially the last, before Trump, the last 4 years with Biden, and just what we've been paying for everything, and so on and so forth. And it's going to take some major sacrifices, and if that means you don't get the national championship, be known for something in history on the right side.
Yeah.
That's the best you're going to get, because in the end we will win, because it's an old saying, if you build a house on a bed of sand, it's going to end up falling. If you build a house in bedrock, that thing could last, forever, whatever. That's not exactly the saying, because I don't remember the exact saying, but you get my general idea.
When do we step in, even in the process of hoping that women, girls and women will in fact just show up and not compete? When do we stop letting these guys win? When after they win the ribbons, get the endorsements, get the trophies, when do we yank it from them?
Well,
I mean,
they already are in some cases. Now, the Olympics has not allowed that guy who went against Riley Gaines into
yeah, Leah Thompson. Yeah, he can't
and
be in the
it's going to be
Olympics.
too
You're right.
late for him eventually. There will be more court cases. There'll be more of this and that and the other. But the whole thing with that is starting to turn. Okay, because you have so many guys, especially in like track, field, swimming, individual sports that are kicking girls' ass. And then you turn around and have like the United States women's soccer team. Uh, I read they lost to a bunch of high school boys in a scrimmage, and they wonder why they're not getting paid the same. Because you're
Exactly.
not. It's not that you're not good. You have talent for, say, soccer. It's that you just don't bring in the money that unless you are going for a World Cup. All right, nobody gives a damn about women's soccer. At least not enough for it to matter. But men's soccer, that, by the way, we lose every goddamn year. I mean, I can't remember the last time we won the World Cup. All right. But you go because you watch that. you know, most people would prefer to watch men's sports than women's sports. And if you ever notice, there's no women pretending to be guys trying to go out for football, basketball, or even baseball. All right. That's not happening.
That's very true.
I don't know. I prefer to watch women's soccer than men myself. And I do know that speaking to you guys the other night, talking about how certain things are, there's a crowd for everybody and for everything, I guess, in a way. And, whoever wins, I guess. I'm not really big sport orientated because there's always been so much bullshit related into it. And I mean, we go back into Johnny Bench and the baseball and the fix this, fix that. It's always been around us that so many things have been corrupt. I just found myself walking away from the things. But I mean, if I was to give the benefit of the doubt anywhere, I'd rather watch a bunch of beautiful young women running up and down the field or playing flag football and things. And the truth of the matter is, for a good period of time, they were getting more viewership than the men were in all the sports. And then the NFL had to put a change to that. We can't have that. Let's do this. Let's take over the ownership of their teams. We're going to give them less airtime. They faded away. NFL came back out on top. Let's watch the guys. It happens in all sports like that. When it even happens, in pharmaceuticals. If somebody says they can cure sugar, they'll spend $300 million to fight them in court to silence them. So I've learned a different perspective of how to watch for things and try to understand them. And it's all just a terrible mess. But even in Hollywood, people are, calling out Beyonce's wins and, within the music industry and all of her, awards. I mean, how's that even possible? Not to say that she didn't have talent once upon a time, but to be honest with you, perfectly honest with you, I think she lost her talent many years ago and bent over for a different reason to stay strong. But this is what they do to stay on top. They make choices in different ways. And I think people, we as citizens and human beings, make our own with them. And, I take my hat off to everybody saying, believe in what you want to believe in. I'll believe in what I want to believe in. Let's just somewhere have respect for each other and always be able to discuss things if it comes down to it. But it comes down to the courtrooms decide where the injustice systems are, the ones that are actually punishing a president or trying to. They're not getting away with much. We keep becoming more victorious as we go on. Trump himself does. Marlena Trump, Elena, they all won big money, lawsuits, litigations. The outcomes are in our favor, but are they really working for us yet? Because the battle continues. It doesn't matter the narrative. And to me, too, this also comes from what we don't know about who these true people are. And I'm going to be doing a thing on the Masons. And some people say, well, there's only 33 degrees. I can guarantee you I find up to 360. That there are as many as 360. The 96th is in Chicago. Then you have the York rites of 7. They carry 7 degrees. Scottish rites is 29 degrees. And then what you call the beginners, the newbies, that want to get involved, just like regular Joes, maybe like Dave and Chuck and me, don't know much about it. We just want to become a Mason because it seems to be popular. It seems to be good. That's called the Blue Masonry, and that's only 3 fragments. That's basically your indoctrinations. They're not ceremonial to anything or to any knowledge. But once you go above the 33, the Earl Ives and all the Hollywood and the elites and so forth, then you get into the dirt up to the 96, which was the music industry, which was the Black Illuminati, which was, the black parties, the white parties, the Diddy parties, and the after parties, and whatnot. It doesn't exactly deal with the blood, but that does come in after the 96 to the 360. That's where them levels come in of the algonism and the Aleister Crowley and all these different narratives of witches and so forth. That and there's a big list of what they are, who they are, and it's in the Vatican. It's in Satanitisms, black magic, Bohemian Grove, and didn't Alex Jones blows a lid on part of what that was, and that was an over 96 party where they go there and they do these ritualistic things that goes back into history of what was taught through paganisms. The Vikings, how they lived, the pillage, the raiding, the taking of the power grabs of the lands. It's always about empowerment and how that works. But Bohemian Grove was one of the over 96 celebrations that they did that Alex Jones actually got a little bit of footage on. I have it somewhere in one of my old computers. I just have to hook it up where they focused in well enough to see these people. And I'm not joking about this when I say there were presidents there. They got a couple close-ups of people's faces that were there right within the celebrations of satanic and ritualistic sexual and devious acts upon what you could tell were youth. 96 to 360. So where's the cure to all this when it really comes down to it is where I'll head into it. But it's deeper even than what I talked about, but I think I laid a pretty good blanket out there. When you know all these things, how it works, and then remember the presidents that stood next to Diddy and said, "Oh, he's such a great guy." Remember the black party that occurred the night that Obama went back into as the first time ever black person into the White House. They were actually doing ritualistic shit right in the White House because it was the most powerful house. It was Black Illuminati. It was all about transgenderism. And these are all levels of the Masonic that goes back to Baphomet and some of the other early worship, idolisms and so forth. Mind blowing, huh, Jer?
Yeah.
Does it make any sense? So, I mean, because even what we sit around with, even the people on the left up there, this is what the swamp that they're stuck in. And that's why Trump always gave you the most secrecy of it is the children. It's the human trafficking. It comes down to the three-letter, begins with S, ends with X, words against children, violent criminal acts against them. I mean, we're talking about old men in multiple numbers just taking turns, and it didn't matter upon gender. They just did it. It was part of the ritualistic show, because when you bring that higher vibration, that is where the connection between the dark and what they feel their energy is about. And this is a big part of why we are dealing totally 100% with everything that we are dealing with. This is the actual exposure. Honestly, I might be dead tomorrow, but not because I'm going to pass away, but because what I'm saying here right now, if I go to the 360, I guarantee you, if it gets in the wrong person's hands, they're going to say this guy knows way too much, but I guarantee you I'm not one of a handful. There's some of 1,000 that probably do know this information, that did their homework to be able to share what it is, how it works, and what we are actually fighting against. This is exactly what the fight is. This is why the poisons. This is why, the sky cocktails. This is everything. Think about this. If you go back into history, the Anunnaki came here. Let's just take humanity out of the picture, but they came here for gold because their planet was getting overheated by a sun. What's happened in America that they want you to believe? We are being overheated by sun. They use gold. We're using barium, strontium, and aluminum. So think about the precedence of where I'm going with the early knowledge and technologies of what they got already in their hand that the librarian custodials hold on to. I mean, I said enough. I'll give away the whole show.
Okay. No. They will, because I will do my best to make sure that everybody watches it. But the question that comes to my mind is, does it ever go away? What these old men are doing to young men, does it ever go away? Or is it just something that is going to be there because it's part of what, I hate to use this word, it's part of what we are? I mean, it's something that we were all indoctrinated into. Or one day does somebody just look up and say, no, we can't continue doing this anymore?
Well, that's why Trump wants peace. He wants the war sacrifices to go away. Stop the bloodshed. Get it? It connects with blood. It connects with peace. It connects with the word STOP. Stop. He's trying his damnedest. Everybody knows what he's doing. He's going right for the Khazarian. Okay, that's the devil's eye. That's Satan's throne, so to speak. And there's a number of them, just like there are Arks of Covenants that we believe exist in America, and were built for certain purposes of them. Even the Panama Canal, where what happened there? 36,000 men died. Okay, over infrastructure, over a man's idea. Not to say that it wasn't a great idea, but it almost broke the country as well to do it. And they will go to any end to break anything. They don't care. That's why they shut Bernstein into depression. That's why they shut alcohol. They want their cut. They want their, hey, what's in it for us? These are those people that go back. When you think the Vatican is a Catholic organization, but no, it's an early Roman Empire. You think the Spanish weren't as great as anybody else, but yet they were stronger than the Vatican was. People really don't know the truth. That's why, most humbling to say, if you find a treasure and it had to do with the Spaniards, the treasure got returned to them, and you got a little tidbit for finding the treasure. But you couldn't hold on to anything. If you did, you got caught with it. If they ever found out you sold it, you were imprisoned. So, you may think water's free, but no, that falls under maritime. What is maritime? Currency, riverbanks, ocean banks. It's the banking system of the water flowing, of the birth canal, of their structure of what we are, who it is. No matter how you look at it, it goes back to Masonic orders. And that's why they build from cornerstones. And early, as I said this past week, on the show with you guys, sacred geometries, which I got more coming up, which will depict a lot of stained glass windows and architectural things, astrology, the early points and factors. These are the things that are hidden, And once the the shelf broke off the ice with all this climate control up there, a piece the size of Chicago, they immediately changed the narrative that something was found amazing in Egypt under the pyramid. So, because there's a bigger focus up there that's being hidden. They don't care about what's in Giza. They don't care about that plateau no more. Let's let them have it. And that Zaya, he's the biggest criminal political optimist that there is in the country when it comes to archaeology. He's been with all of them. Not Trump. I'm going to say Trump by accident. I apologize. Obama, Hillary, all of them. And why did 9/11 happen? Because what was under the sands that they truly wanted, not because it was about two men hitting. They needed a reason to create a war to get there, to get what they wanted. And our military men know it, who have been whistleblowers, were there looting, taking things that was important to the United States, the ones handling, the handlers and the groomers that were making requests, get this stuff. We want to know about Thoth. We want to know about these technologies. We want these documents. We want these papers. And that's why I'm telling you that below level 7, you go into a bunch of different conductive types of organizations and sets where they're doing biogenetics because they want to bring back something that once was. And, you might ask yourself, maybe it's the Masonic that do supernatural type of rituals that bring the Bigfoot into this dimension and Dogman into this dimension, because they go for the most nefarious things. And that's what the Vril Society was, again, going back to what we talked about, but trying to connect more dots. This is a circle back situation that we have here, guys. What I explained to you is the facts of where they are, who they are, and how evil they are. And to find out all these names, it doesn't matter. They hide behind names. They rebrand their names, but they stay in existence by doing it. They do. Like, what does NASA have? What does NASA, in anybody's right mind, have a headquarters in the middle of a desert out there in the east? What is the purpose of us putting millions of dollars out there unless we weren't involved some way through a cover-up, because of extracting materials of goods that, and Mr. Rothschild owns the museum. Doesn't it not make sense? This goes back to biblical old world histories, practices, Mayans, satanic worshiping, believing in something. It's the dark supernatural. How do you cure it? The best way to tell anybody to cure it without getting my head chopped is to say, you have to believe you have a choice. And because they made a choice to go in this direction doesn't mean that you can't put on the brakes to stay where you are or strengthen yourself on this side. And that's what we need to do. That's what Trump has put in place. That's why he's fighting for us. That's why he wants to give America back, because they left America and we became in charge of what they left behind.
Wow.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Well,
Jerry,
what happened?
I think we can fix this with rope.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Go back to the old world ways. I agree. They were put in place and mandated in place by law for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't just remove it because they just don't seem natural anymore. That's how they get away with the gravy train every freaking time that they do. When they know they can face the worst case scenario is when they'll truly worry. But remember, when you get above 300 into the 60, they believe in these practices is eternal life for them. They actually believe that's the eternal life. That's why in some cases of religions and so forth, there were so many steps to get to to Valhalla, to heaven, to this astral plane, to this other dimension of world of spiritual existence, where we become as one of something of this universe. Look, you can pray all you want, even if a child's dying of cancer right next to you and he's yours. And you ask all the powers of the world to help you because as a parent, a loved one, a grandfather, an uncle, an aunt, you would do that for that child. But yet they leave here. And they say, well, God has a bigger plan. I wonder.
The wow that I did, Michael, was just, I am so amazed listening to you. How factual, or how many items of information you have, and you're just taking these right off. I know you study this stuff all the time, but you go and you go, and it's like, wow, I
I know
can't
that's
keep
why
up.
California's screaming at me right now. Get on a plane. I'm not joking. They know what I can. I would rip that Coliseum up inside the hotel, that auditorium.
I can't keep up. It's just like,
I don't do
I
it for
gotta
money.
be truthful. He's not
My
lying.
objective
It's
is
hard to keep
never
up.
do humanity for money.
It's hard to keep up
Okay, hold on. I
because
couldn't
that's
hear
the
him.
main problem a lot of people have. People want to know this, but the one thing they don't know is where the hell do you start?
Like
It's
I did
so
when I sent that
freaking
picture
deep.
to you.
And so many hundreds and thousands of years ago, this shit started.
Yes.
Blah blah blah. Where the hell do you start?
we're just little grains of
But it's also a
sand,
little bit more
we're
of
just,
where do you start? It's
I don't know.
where do you host? Where do you put the broadcasts on, Michael? Because it's like, obviously we all know that, I'm lucky if I mean, we might have 20 people watching right now, but we're not.
Well, that's the hard part.
These shows, regardless of whether or not it's politics or not.
Right. I get it. I get it. I
we're
had
not
to fight
getting
that.
numbers.
I had to fight that Sunday night. I really did. We spoke about so many things, so many different types of subject matter, all of them important to prep people. Like I said to Jerry after the show in the back of the agreement, I was like, Jerry, if I told everybody what I honestly have learned and what I think the direction is, I would be, as I kind of stated here, and I don't know what people's own mindsets would be like, because just if you compare that, what people say, if they found out aliens created us and it wasn't a god, people would be killing themselves and going crazy and going nuts. Well, this is bigger than that. This is actually bigger than that. So where do you put it? And it was a very hard thing for me to know where and how, and I tested the waters, but still thousands of people looked at it. I don't know why, but maybe it was because of the bigger whatever that we exist in, that where it went to, things worked out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just shut up because I probably took too much time away from everybody.
Okay. Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, I don't know anything, so you took nothing away from me.
Well, if there's any comments up there, we can still stay in the only comment I saw that came up was somebody had a family member that was involved. And I can say if they're in this early blue, there's nothing to learn there. Not truly. I mean, there's some weird things that go on when you, they bring you into it, but it's nothing that you would ever imagine. As it goes up the ladder, it's above 30. Even 33 is quite normal to a degree. Those are the groomers, the handlers, the presenters, the placers. That's how the politics works. That's how Skull and Bones worked. Bringing presidents into presidencies, having them being groomed in these organizations. Some people say, "Well, I got a paddle and I got indoctrinated into this college." What do they call those stupid shits?
Frat week.
The frats. Yes, this is way beyond that. These were specialized teachers bringing people in. They teach them they teach you everything from acting to singing to wherever they can utilize you, unless you have a father or of a different sort in place or something. Right. And that's the important part. It is all family.
The thing that made it hard for me was that all of my friends that I actually trusted that were in the Masons kept handing me these small hardbound books and saying, you have to be able to read this and you have to be able to understand it and or recite it. And it was like code that, if you showed me today, I wouldn't be able to read it. I might be able to read it, but I would have no idea what I was saying and no idea what it means.
Yeah, well, see, the early part and beginning part is to make it look like a structure, okay? The structure of goodness, where they help people, they help children, they do all these things, like the Shriners, part of them, okay? No joke, part of them. But it's the early part. So they get out there, they do their things, they make it look in the public eye like they're fantastic, and that's why you want to wear that fake gold ring. That's exactly what it's about. Okay, so it starts there. But if you know somebody, let's just say you knew somebody big and they put in a good word for you, they would bring you into level 6, which would be something totally different. You would never see the light of day of what happens from within the blue and coming out into the black. And then you would start at level 6 into the red, and then you would start to migrate forward from there and learn. And it's not hard to jump ahead. There are books, there are rituals, there are things that you got to learn as you start to go up, but they're cross-referenced in a way where cognitive dissonance doesn't allow you to see the true objective of factor. Once you get through those programmables and you become 30, 32, 33, etc., sometimes there's a jump over 31. Again, depends upon if your sponsor comes to put his hand on your shoulder. If he does, you'll jump over that. Then you'll get into the more important factors, but that's money. That's the money gate. Okay? Yeah. That's where the gatekeepers are, who allow you to start making the money, to become the singer, to become, but within it, there's also the point of how you're going to handle and groom the money that comes in. That's part of the big, deconstruct of construction of them, for them to be positive and for humanity to be negative. So that's where the breakaway starts. And then it just goes downhill from there. It really does go downhill from there. And then it goes into all the earliest of history's beliefs that have always been in place and that these practices still exist. People are worried about where the missing are going. And, look, again, I got a little bit more of dotting the I's, crossing the T's for language purposes, but I intend to do it probably, if not the next show, but the one following, and hope it doesn't bite me in my ass.
Yeah, just stay safe. Hope. That's all we care about.
Certainly hope that it doesn't. I mean, I go to bed at night almost every night, and I think that, the final scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the ship lands.
That had to do exactly with Planet Serpo, where the exchange took place.
But the doors open. Right, and the doors open up, and everybody who left years ago or centuries ago, I mean, I don't know how long it was, came back as old as how they were when they left. And, it has always made me wonder, this is just a vessel that we're all in while we're here. And that's what my father used to say. And when he passed away, I want to know where he went. I mean, I'm sure he looked up and his whole family was there waiting and waving for him to come up and join them. We'll never know, because he made it very clear that when he knew he was passing, he wanted to be by himself. Probably because they must have told him that they'd be there waiting to bring him home. But, where do we go? I mean, everybody comes to death. It sounds like a big bad thing, but.
Well, I can't
really want to
answer that. I don't know 100%. I don't know 100%. I know what you know.
I know. I know. And I don't know and I don't know anything.
Well, okay. Well, that's why I was starting to tell you, and I'll do it real quick. That was the Planet Serpo thing. JFK knew about it and gave an approval on it because he didn't think it was actually a fact, where we had made some type of contact through some type of, whatever. And I do have all that information. But again, I got to keep some things extracted because I intend to talk about this under the Strange and Mysterious and the Lost format. And so, what you had was an agreement. You give us 10, 12 of yours, and we'll give you 10, 12 of ours. And that's kind of what it was. So it was a mind exchange for technologies. And we went there to learn about them. There was thousands of pounds of goods, foods, different types of products, cameras, everything for our astronauts to be able to go there to their planet, which took not merely days in any means. It took a long time. Again, I'm not going to say because I want to save some of the juice. But we got there. Right. We had trail bikes. We had everything you could imagine for the guys. But we also had early on the way there a death. Once getting there a death. And then coming back, 2 people stayed. It was for so many years. and blah, blah, blah. When they came here, we also gave them some bodies that we had in cryogenic storages, which goes back to Nixon, Jackie Gleason. I think it was Hartman Air Force Base in Florida. Jerry, you near that?
No.
No? Okay, well, Nixon and Gleason golfed there. And they had Inverary or something.
Yeah,
and so they had that really close relationship. And Nixon basically took him to have a look of what he always questioned on the golf course. We know that because his wife wrote a book that only stayed as a memoir, really. And in it, all the information was in it. And she did interviews and did talk about it. Jackie, after that moment and finding out what he thought was the knowledge of the future and what was amongst us that was not being told, he went and made his house look like a spaceship. You can look it up. It's kind of like the igloo of the hockey playing field for the Pittsburgh Penguins kind of thing. I mean, he domed it. He did a bunch of things to make it look a little bit more like a spacecraft, to be honest with you. But he went kind of silent in his life shortly after that, too. So is it always good to know everything? I don't know. But we do know Nixon did know. We know a lot of people knew things. We knew that Eisenhower met 3 spacecrafts at Holloman Air Force Base. They said he went for a dental procedure that he never went for. The dentist verified he never seen him. The name that came out in the press, oh, he was with this, people went, knocked on the door. Hey, man, is it true that you actually did dental procedure? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. This is factual information. But there was an exchange of things that happened there in that component also before things went into Kennedy. So there was things going on that we knew about 2 presidents prior. And then we had histories of accidents and crash retrievals and different things, bodies in cemeteries. We have an incident in a well where a guy threw part of the what he thought was radioactive material into a well. So it grows. But I mean, it's also as big as going back in history and finding out that, I would say about 3,000 years ago, there were alien crafts found in archaeological digs that they used, but there are several names now. Every culture uses it in a different reference, a frame of name, and they were called basically, for the most part, a Vimana, not a cylindrical craft, that everybody would, as a saucer, the disc, everybody acknowledges that as the one. But no, we had ones like boomerangs that came in. Yeah. We had early stealth style things. And a lot of our ideas came because they told us, study the birds. If you want flight, study the birds.
Was Jackie perhaps making all those conversions to his home, to make his home some vessel to leave and go? Because I've always said I think the pyramids were not built. They were 3 ships that came down at some point, and they would leave at some point, and maybe they just haven't gotten to that point, or maybe it's even better than that. They're living in the pyramids.
I don't think they're living in anything. I don't think anybody ever was laid out in them either. I think they were sourced for different reasons. I think it was planetary. If you go into these places, the carvings and so forth that you'll find on the walls, you'll see representations of giant electrical light bulbs. What else could they be? You'll see references to helicopters, boats. You even see somebody in their hand holding something that looks like a cellular phone. You see something that looks like a laptop computer. Really, these things exist. They're out there, and that's a presentation coming up this week. Anyway, Dave, I don't know on that, but I can tell you we do know that there's big arguments about the age, and it had nothing to do with, the Egyptians, so to speak. It goes back 10,200 years from what we can find out and what we think has been carbon dated in a good way. And as far as all these people and LIDAR and all that, that's been going on for 10 years as well, if not even earlier, because there was I have her name written down, but a really brilliant woman who wanted to bring LIDAR into the deserts and stuff. And she started scanning everything. And I'm telling you, which in her findings, we know that we've only are talking about 1% of 100% of 99% of things we haven't even started yet to unbury.
Wow.
And not only that, there's things like this even in America.
Yep.
I think we're all speechless, Michael.
I don't know why.
Yep.
Pretty
What do you
simple.
think, Jerry?
And you know what? I could tie this all in a certain way. But again, the earliest points of Masonic even goes back to John the Baptist. Sorry, not sorry, factual, because he was one of them. Ezekiel. You know, I remember being in church as a pastor, First Presbyterian Church, 6th Street, downtown Pittsburgh, PA. And they gave me a letter because of how I was within the status of the church. And this came from a lady who I couldn't stand to spit at even because I disliked her so much, to be perfectly honest. Because once you know the secrets that I knew about even that church and the practices about how to land grab people's monies from the families and go run to the deathbeds and have the dying one sign a thing so it doesn't wind up in orphans court and the money gets stuck somewhere and they give all the belongings over to the church. They wanted me to play a party to that. They wanted me to go and play a party, get in my car, run, have them sign this before the family gets there. They would actually have the secretary in the front office every 2 hours call to do a wellness check. Oh, we're from the church. We love him. We just want to keep track of him, know how he is. The minute the pastor was aware he was in or she was in the last final hours, it was our job to be given to us to go there to have them sign these documents to rip the family off of the inheritance. And it go to the church where it's untaxable and doesn't land up in orphans court. So no matter what the will said, they had their work in order and it would hold up in court. So these people are, I hate them. I couldn't wait to walk out of it and hate them any more than I could hate them. But again, it all goes back to where did it come from? What was going on? What were the Templars doing? What was their purpose? What were they hiding? What were they bringing back to the Vatican? Why were they put to death? Because the Vatican said so. I mean, really? No, it came from higher orders in the Vatican.
Well, no. Probably because they didn't want whistleblowers at the Vatican.
Well, back then, I don't know if they really worried about it, but they called them the internet spying process. There's a word like that they used. And it was all really about having spies everywhere through the kingdoms and through the power of the money. And one of the things that you can know that is true is one of the things that was making the Templars a lot of money was the protection that they gave the people. So here's how the order of protection worked. Everybody knew that the Templars were somebody. They were always wearing identifiable things unless they were in combat and war. The only time they changed from that white garment with the red cross was to be in war so they could actually camouflage themselves and not stand out in a white robe and black cross, because then they would be seen coming. So what they did with the white robe Templars, in my mind of everything that I learned, and it goes deeper than just what I'm speaking on, was they would give protection. So let's say you want to go from Europe to America and you have 5,000 crowns, $5,000 in American cash, whatever you want to call it. You give it to them. And for a percentage, like 10%, they give you safe passage and they guarantee your money to be handed over to you when you get there. And they were actually doing this, and they held up to their word. That was called the first banking system that the Vatican wanted to take over, that the kings wanted to take over. So I think that was the real purpose. Outside of the jewelry, the gold, and the ancient things that they were getting, and the burning down of and having your hands into what they did at Library of Alexandria, all the historical documents, all the historical earliest of creation books, where everything came from that way. So it goes into that. But imagine pulling up at the shore, getting on a boat, And there's a station there with a bunch of Templars on draft horses and standing around, and they go up and you greet them and say, hello, sir, I have money. I'd like to bank with you. I'm going to America. Do you have something there set up when I land that I will be reimbursed and you get your fare, meaning your money, their part. So they would take their fare, they would do whatever, and they would give them a certain kind of note with a certain seal on it with an amount. And when they got there, they handed this note with a special seal. Okay, double seal, by the way, not just one like the Kings gave, a red piece of wax smeared down by a press, which says that in itself. If you looked at this is where the early coins started. Also, this is how the early coins started. So the Vatican wanted this. They wanted that instrument. They knew it was a moneymaker. They were making money hand over foot, but it just wasn't being because people were leaving the land. People were just crossing in fear to go 100 miles. So as long as there were areas of protection and places, they didn't have to carry everything with them. And for a fee, you could have a personal guard. And he would travel with you to the next point, to where you were going. And if anybody messed with the Templar back in those days, because they were such a stronghold, they were the head of the military. Exactly. They were the head of the military everywhere. And then the Swiss Guard came into place after, and that's what protects the Vatican now.
Okay. Hang on for just a second. Think about this for a second. Jane O'Malley wants to know, if this information is true, why is it just coming to the surface now? But before you answer it, let me go to Jerry and give Jerry a...
I'm not asking anybody to believe me, but go ahead, Jerry.
Maybe we're coming to the end of days. Who knows? Where we all have to make a choice.
Well, I wouldn't theorize around the Book of Revelations too much, but I mean, not saying that there aren't some facts.
I have no idea. All I know is that
Mike talks out his ass.
I've been doing this a long time, and not as long as Michael, but ain't nothing getting better. Society is crumbling everywhere, not just here, everywhere. Right and wrong is almost like there's no such thing. Sin is everywhere. You name it. Maybe it's time. People just have to make a choice, and I don't know. I think it's always been there, the information. I think it's taken people. A lot of people think Obama was the Antichrist. I hear this all the time. I don't know if that's true or not. But what I do know is that people started digging. And more people started digging. And everybody started digging. And then you have, people like Michael's been doing it for 30 whatever years now.
Since I was 17.
All right, well, 17.
50 years.
Yeah, and I've been covering what's happening now, and for 13, or at least going on it, or something like that. Maybe it's tribulations. Who knows? Yeah, could be. I don't know, Chuck. Maybe you could bail me out yet again there.
Oh hell, but this is a deep rabbit hole and a deep subject. But
and you know what?
Saying,
here's the deal. You're not wrong about him being an antichrist. He was a changer, okay? He was one of the groomed to change. He was one of the ones brought in. Remember, this is one of Hitler's grandsons, and this is not a joke. This is not a freaking joke. He is actually what I'm saying he is. And if you don't believe me, just really deep dive the research. You'll find it. Come on. But the point is this. What we're seeing is multiple antichrists. The Antichrist comes in multiple numbers. It never comes alone. It needs to be in dark with all the other demons that are needed in the process to gain where they need to go. Then now you're living in it, okay? That's the legacy of how it continues and why Skull and Bones was created and what they were taught to understand the rites and rituals and sacrifices and all this cultisms, okay? I told people 5 years ago, we were involved in a cult. These people are in a cult. I kept my mouth shut and didn't really go much further than that. but I was on certain shows where people had the same ideals as I did and some of the same knowledge as I did, and we had discussion. Try to find them now, it's pretty hard. I started saving them, even most recent today. I got another notification, Jerry. The show that you and I did last, and I did others before it and after it, they picked that show that you and I were on together under the Donald J. Trump News Team Network night that we did, that they're removing it on Thursday. And I have that notification. Why that particular show? Why that particular show? Because they always come back to me. Today, I had a show up in the memory, okay? And they took my voice away. So I used the Pink Floyd song to put into it. The subject for matter. So it mattered. The people understood. I gave hand gestures and signals in the beginning of it that they didn't care for. I guarantee you, go on my page right now, Dave, and look, whoever has a second computer, look at what I had to do just to keep the information out there, even though they still remove my voice.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, there has to be more to their plan of taking things down every 30 days. Also, go ahead, Jerry.
I just Googled, is Obama related to Hitler? Expecting to find a Wikipedia page that says it's an American conspiracy theory. And I did not. There are actual theses and so forth saying exactly that.
Not only that, he's related to the Bush family, and their name's truly not the Bush. It's not Bush's.
So
right. I've heard that before.
Yeah, he's admitted that right on television interviews.
Second or third time I've heard about Hitler and Obama, and nothing surprises you anymore.
Yes. His mother was a blood relative to Hitler, and of course, she was also placed and involved in an area that made money that was needed for a purpose in the earlier agenda of days as things were moving forward. Plans were proceeding to bring us into these times, which people see are the end times. But I see them as a reset. And how we can cure them is by what we're doing now, who's in place now, how we basically flip them off, turn our backs to them, not care about them, and take them down. Because to me, that's how the system must work. No one's going to come here, because no one ever has come here and said, we're going to save humanity. We have those tools. Our tools are our mind, our thought processes, our instincts, and our gut. And when we go through it the same way, by using common sense. And he's told you that over and over.
Yeah.
He's revealing what I'm telling you in a different English.
Tomorrow is supposed to be for America's Jubilee. Or, and it has to do, according to the news, the end of the trade wars against the United States, tariffs, all that kind of shit. So,
Be interesting.
Judging by what some of the things I've heard we're going to hear, I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed because the government is not going to give us tons of money or any of that bullshit. But, tomorrow should be an interesting day.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and just
I believe this is the start. Tomorrow is the start of a major reset, at least in the world. And Trump, for some reason, somebody or something, some people would say God, some people would say us. I don't know. I don't care. But Trump was picked to get this thing rolling.
Yeah, and I agree. And, here I see that there's some people I'm probably crushing their feelings and hurting them, and I'm not doing it to try to get anywhere. I don't make no money doing this. I'm not getting stardom out of this in any way. My voice don't even travel much further. If it did, I'd be on Tucker. I'd be back with Alex. I'd be doing shows like that. And I do understand that one of the comments in there is, I cannot believe a church would ever do. Yes, they would. And maybe not everyone, but I can tell you I was affiliated within one, and that's how they practice.
No, that's exactly what the church would do. The church don't care about God.
Yeah.
No. No,
Maybe some of the priests or reverends
that's
or
the
whatever
reason for
care about
gathering, not
God.
the purpose of the church.
Some of the flock
It's a
cares
business.
about
It's a
God, but the
business.
church itself don't give a damn about God.
No, it's a
Yep.
business.
Yep.
It's
It's
not
They're
even
a
that.
501c.
It's it's a
Yeah.
demonic
Actually, yeah.
thing is with the
Demonic organization.
But again, I do want to
But I mean-
apologize because I don't. This is why it's so hard to talk about this subject matter. People freak out instead of
Yep.
raise their consciousness level of knowledge to know. That is the time that we're in. We're coming to a closure
Yep.
of something where a new start's beginning. And it's been expressed. The president himself has said, we're going to celebrate like never before a 250-year okay, all over the United States of America, where it'll last for a year. So it's a new beginning of a bigger and better. But within it, there's a lot of disappointing news and information. You can either accept it or not, and that's fine, and move on to what can be good. I know it's not for everybody, so I sincerely apologize to you because, like you, I am a human being with family, friends, and I have no political gain. I swear to you, I gain nothing out of this. Most people, even here, won't even come to watch what I do when I'm live. And I don't get angry at nobody for their way of doing that if that happens. There's room for everybody. There's thousands of podcasts out there. We're all tramping on toes. We're all trying to support. And the best I can say is thank you for doing what you are doing to everybody and for everybody out there. I meant nothing by it, but to give you truth and fact.
No. You are here because something said to me earlier this afternoon may have you involved. Right. That's why I asked you, and I appreciate when you throw the tidbits at us, because I have always said that we don't get it down here because we're shielded so far by the meta mothership that we only see the light out of the rabbit hole when they want to let us. It's like I don't want to say we're prisoners here, but we are.
All right. I have something to say. Larry, I love you.
Jerry.
I do. But you get in these conversations with us, and all this is talk, and you're right. No one is standing up to Islam. No one's telling the world of its evils. Can I ask? And I don't mean this to piss you off. I don't. But why not you? You're knowledgeable on it. Why not you? See, I've been doing this shit for 13 years, and you guys get on and, we laugh and we joke and shit, and you put up with my crap and, whatever. But it's not as easy as you think, because in the end, I have to somehow entertain you guys. Otherwise, you're not going to be around. All right. Along with everybody else who is on screen. Why don't you do it? Why don't you start a podcast on the evils of Islam? And, you'll find that it is hard, but you'll feel better about being the one who's standing up. Now, yeah, there's other people doing it. There's always been other people doing it since I've been doing what I'm doing. Well, my opinion on Islam and its followers. It's basically the same as yours. But why not you? See, that's the thing. Everybody is always, why don't we do this, or why don't we? Well, why don't you? There are people out there that put themselves out. I can't tell you how many death threats I've got. I can't tell you how many people hate my ass because I have an opinion. And I'm talking about people on our side, supposedly. I can't tell you how many people I've pissed off. Okay, because it's since the first video I ever did that went viral, I've been pissing people off. It don't matter how you look. It doesn't matter how you sound. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is that you raise your voice for what you believe. That's it. Nobody gives a damn what you look like. I mean, look at me. I'm old. I got bags. I'm
No,
freaking. Yeah, I'm cranky all the
no,
time. The whole
no,
fucking 9 yards. Okay,
no,
but I
right,
still do this shit.
no,
And yeah, every now and again, I gotta take some time off because
no,
this shit will drive you
no,
out of your skull.
no.
But
Nobody cared. Right. Oh, go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry.
I'm done.
No, go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, yeah.
I,
Why not you, Larry? I'm tired. And this, I'm not mad at you or nothing, but I am so sick of people saying, "When is somebody going to do this?" And why not you, the person asking the question?
And why punish
Nobody's
the ones that
talking
have?
about this. Nobody's saying this. Nobody's. Then get on and say it. Quit making excuses and quit making everything else in life more important.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what I've given up in my fucking life to keep this bullshit thing I do every goddamn 4 nights a fucking week? Okay? I can't go do nothing at night that I used to do because I gotta be here. Okay, everyone you encounter, that's great, Larry. But you're on here on a video, Dave's video, asking that question. Why aren't you doing the video?
or at least on the video.
And it's not just you. Believe me, I see people I've known for years on fucking internet. That's all. When is somebody gonna do something? Well, why aren't you?
It's easier to be a
Money. I've done everything I fucking can with this stupid bullshit.
yeah.
I've brought people on. I've
Yeah.
tried to get people to talk. We got people like Michael who does what he does, you know, and everything. And why not you? That's all I'm saying. And I'm not mad at you, and I don't want to piss you off. I don't want to piss off anybody. And you got questions like Jane did? Yeah, I agree. Ask the goddamn questions. It don't matter if they're stupid. Ask them any fucking way. Because you know something? If there's something you don't know, it ain't a stupid goddamn
Right.
question.
Yep.
It ain't.
Nailed it.
Right.
Nailed it. Great.
I've
Yep.
said this for 63 years. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There's just a stupid answer that hasn't been given yet.
True.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times in the 6 years I've been doing this, and I don't mean to piss off anybody, because anybody that gets pissed off just won't come back and watch. I start every broadcast, I start every promotion or broadcast with, please come into the live chat, come on to the broadcast. I don't care if you got something. I started this. I started this.
Online. Everybody, he says I don't have to do it online for justification. Are you fucking insane? It's not justification.
Okay.
It's called information
Right.
that most people don't have.
Share
That's
the
a
information.
bullshit excuse is what that is.
Most of us are
Okay,
not.
can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a bullshit excuse. Everybody's got a bullshit excuse not to get in front of a fucking camera and speak the way they want to speak and say what they want to say. It's that damn simple. And then the people that do, they get shit on. You, if you did it, would get shit on. But who gives a damn? Who gives a shit? Yes, it hurts your feelings sometimes. It hurts you that people think you're this or that or the other, especially people who have not, who don't know you and that kind of bullshit. But you know something? Who cares?
Right.
The time for sitting there and I meet people and I talk to, well, the time for that crap is over. It's time for everyone to lift their damned voice and say what they believe proudly and most importantly without fear is now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I agree. Thank you very
much.
My hat's off to you. Well said. I mean, and again, And again, it's not about getting down on people or you getting down on me or disbelieving me. Like, you know, these questions. Well, where'd you get your information? Oh my God, how do you explain 50 years to somebody? How do you freaking even that is when the question is a stupid question, but still deserves an answer. And my answer is stupid because how do you explain 50 years to somebody? Look, you can be a keyboard warrior, just like Jerry said. If that's all you got, then stand next to what you got. But what's more important is where you were in all this, not where it got you, not how you ended up, because we give up a lot to do what we do when we do shows. We really, truly do. You know, we get judged by all, including our own families in many cases. But again, where are we the next day? How are we trying to help? Making posts, giving direction.
Doing it again. Back doing it again.
Exactly.
Doing it again.
Yeah.
You know, groups.
Yeah.
My broadcast, other people's broadcast. I didn't start this, and I'm just going to speak for me for a moment. I didn't start this to get me rich and famous or get me to be the big celebrity. I started this 6 years ago to give people a place to come and talk about this. And I'd still tell you today, I don't know anything about anything. So I met Michael, and we did broadcasts together. And then Michael would say, you got to take a break, my friend, and go do these for yourself. And then Michael would come back every once in a while and say, okay, you gave all the dots. Now connect all the dots. And then he'd say, now bring in these dots. And then I met Jerry. And I don't know anybody on the internet who has yelled at me more than anybody else about anything and welcomed me back the next night and put up with what we do. I don't know anybody who's given up 2 more nights of what he does 4 nights a week to come help me do it. So
see, Dave, here's the thing. Doing this is easy compared to fighting a war. Doing this is easy compared to being in the DC gulag. Doing this is easy compared to what some people are going through in this freaking world. Okay, you always have to look at it that way, and to sit in a chair in front of a screen for a couple of hours ain't hard.
No, it's not.
When you look,
it's not. Look at me, I do it. Look at me, I do it.
Well, everybody here. I mean, I don't remember the last time I saw anybody without Chuck on it, and you know, Chuck came out of nowhere as far as where I see. You know, and he is every single time, and he has legitimate things to say, which is important, and he ain't afraid to say them. Which is, in my opinion, too many people in this country. I have this saying. It's like, stop being afraid, start being American. We're not supposed to be afraid to say what the hell's on our mind. And in this case, we have this technology of sitting here and showing ourselves on video. And, you know, when you put your words and your face into something, it is important. Because it's just another voice. Yes, it's a grain of sand on the beach, but you put all them grains of sand together and you got the beach. And the beach, it's not me, it's not Michael, it's not Nick, or it's not Dave, it's not Chuck, it's all of us together. Because I got news for you. If it wasn't for all people like us and all the people in the comments you see here every single time, okay, Trump would not be in office. We'd be having much different conversations, and this country would go to shit. And the world would go to shit, because apparently where we go, they go. And then the evil we're fighting. This is good versus evil. And we're seeing the evil raise their ugly heads more than we ever had in history.
Yes.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And you can even reference back, everybody, as far back as even watching a cartoon like the Jetsons, where it shows you the life you would be living in today, and it's now here amongst you. Or you can go back to like Obama's speeches, where he stood next to Elon Musk, stood next to Donald Trump, and raved about them and how much they were a great person until they cross sides. So that ought to give you your biggest explanation of everything.
Yeah, the way I came on board was I heard it from a friend who heard it from a
Heard it from
friend.
a friend
Yeah,
who
exactly. Yeah.
heard it from a
And,
friend
you know,
who heard
I
it
got
from
that song
another
on my computer.
messing around.
Anyways, she recommended Dave, and I went and watched a couple shows, and then he invited me to the panel, and of course
Begged
I
him to
wouldn't
come
say
to the
nothing
panel.
because I was a rookie and I didn't know shit, but now Jerry keeps saying you can't shut him up.
Yeah. I begged you to come to the panel because I was running out of things to say,
It's like good.
Okay.
I mean,
which is very good. Which is
a lot
very
of
good.
people are like that. Nick didn't speak for 3 fucking weeks. We had to check, make
Yep.
sure he was still alive. But
Yep.
you know what? His stories are long, and many times we're playing solitaire while he's telling them, but he'll tell them, and he also knows a lot of shit. And
He does.
everybody's opinion counts.
Yep.
Even ones that don't agree with ours. But
Right.
the most
Absolutely.
important thing is that we say and never say the words, when is someone going to do this? If it ain't you. And I'm going to
Exactly.
tell you something. 99% of the people right now in the comments would be excellent at this, including Larry Burns.
Yep.
Yeah.
Larry Burns.
Well,
Larry
I
Burns
always
is well thought out. Larry Burns, intelligent guy. He's got a lot of common sense, and yeah, he's uptight. But then Larry, you should try to be more like me, who is very calm, cool, and collected. But you probably can't do that. But in the end, you would be very good at it. You know, I look at guys like Robert Lawless, and I don't,
Yep.
Jane and everybody, and Jolene. Hell, when Jolene gets going, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
Okay, in the end, you sell yourself short. You do.
Yep. And I always give kudos to the people in the chat. I mean, we're watching
Yep.
the chat, and
Yep.
Dave and Jerry know how to get to put the chat up there on the screen and everything. We all see it. We're recognizing it, and yes, that is part of the show. But we really do appreciate the people that are in the chat for sure.
And I've always said, I don't care if you got to point a cell phone camera at your face and use the mic on it, if that's the only option that you have. But anybody is welcome to come on. We could have 6 more people on here for a total of 10 people. So, I mean, I always say, if you got something to say, come on.
Here's the thing. Like a lot of stuff Michael says, a lot of people don't want to hear it. But we are at a point in time where something is coming. I mean, and it's obvious. And if you don't listen to it and at least either look into it, give it benefit of doubt, something, you're going to get run over. And it's important that, however you decide to do it, whether it be in the chat or be on screen or whatever, you have to, you can't just dismiss shit anymore. I did that for years with the conspiracy theories that so many of them came true. And at some point, you have to look at that and say, you know what? I'm wrong about a lot of shit, and I got to start changing the way I do things. I listen to a lot of people now about a lot of the same stuff Larry talks about, or I'm sorry, Michael talks about, and like Larry's talking about the Muslims. Larry's kind of an expert on the Muslims, more or less. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a scholar. I just say he's read the books. He knows what they say. He knows what they mean. They blah blah blah, and he can tell a lot of things about it. But everybody. I'm not an expert on anything, but I try to be a guy who gives other people a chance to be one. Because I'm way behind. Like with everything Michael's saying, Half the shit he says, I have no clue what he's talking about. But in the end, while he's talking about it, I'm looking it up. And that includes the other night when I was on his
Me
show.
too.
And there's stuff.
Yep.
Now, I
Yep.
just got to read Wikipedia, which, is a bastion of truth, justice, and the American way for sure. But in the end, it's stuff that, wow, okay, there's something. You start putting shit this little together, that little together. Could I catch up to him? Yeah, if I could live to 130 and he died today. Okay? And don't do that because that would make me feel bad. But in the end, the end is that people who know more, you always should listen to.
Yeah.
And that's something we all
I would like to try to help some mindset here. I mentioned something the other night to you and Chuck, and it's a matter of importance because even if we look at biblical references, things had the ability to cause catastrophic geological changes, including the one who decided, I'll wipe the earth clean and it will rain for 40 days and it will rain for 40 nights. The Nephilim and the Raphalim. But yet some still existed. Some got away without, losing their lives, and humanity went on. So that either tells you that there's a significance of power or the possibility of geological catastrophic things that could occur. And we see many signs of how many times it's happened over and over. And I think in a way humanity is fighting on a survival mode. That's why we must go to Mars. They know things before they'll ever tell you things. And I'm not saying that something's coming, but I say to you, events will always come, events will always happen. And technologies are important, but depending upon whose hands the technologies lie within. But if you go back and you just give a little thought into what I said, that if one can do this, so can another. And if that actually happened by the hand of somebody, then tells you that the technologies that we are now within and finding and using are here again. So there are needs for worry and for you to use your voice and to have concern because the indication buttons are all over it. They're all over it. With that being said, thanks for having me here. I truly apologize if I got under anybody the wrong way.
Oh.
And Jerry, somebody loved the way you were singing. I noticed that. So you're going to have to do it again. Jerry, I like your singing. Please sing some more.
Your mic's off, Jerry.
He forgot to turn his mic on.
The problem is Robin's the only one.
Again.
Yeah, Robin's the only one, and everybody else throws tomatoes and lettuce at me. Rotten at that. So.
Hey.
Hey, before the shows, when I play the background music, you're always singing along.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. That's before the shows where no one else can hear me but you, Chuck. And,
I know.
Yeah.
I even gave Dave a little bit.
I hear Chuck singing in the green room too. So.
Yeah, I played George Jones. He stopped loving her today, and yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Michael.
Hey, thank you, Michael, thank you for being here. And I just want everybody to know nobody is mad at anybody here. Anybody is welcome to come on and speak at any time if you want. You just gotta ask for the link. And I will do my best to get you the link and get you on. Please. I want everybody to be a part because everybody's that one grain in the sand, like Jerry said, and we all just need to be together and get the ideas out. And we do it, and then the next time there's double us, and the next time there's double us, and the next time there's double us. And
here's the thing. Sometimes not talking about this shit is great too, and which we try to incorporate quite a bit. Sometimes making fun of Jerry on our show is the way to go because everybody laughs at it, and quite frankly, much of it is true and also hilarious, and that kind of thing, and that's why I make fun of everybody. somebody, the whole pursuit of happiness, we seem to have lost our way to. In not everybody, but not in every way, but still, we don't laugh enough in this country, either at ourselves, number one, or at others or things or whatever. Everything is so damn serious, and everybody's a freaking victim, and everything blah 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 blah. And we are inundated with this crap day in and day out. And if I had one wish, it'd be everybody be like a lot, lighten up a lot. You know what I mean? And just okay, let's laugh and have a good time. Like I wasn't yelling at Larry. I just that's years of listening to people say, well, when's somebody gonna do something? And it's like, and I ended up telling him he should be calm, cool, and collective. And apparently, he didn't believe that I was. Surprisingly enough, um, but as I was yelling it all out, so but we gotta laugh more, and we gotta. There's nothing wrong with knowing shit. And there's nothing wrong with having something to think about, also. If you hear anything on anybody's show that makes you think, you've won. And
Absolutely.
in turn, they have won because they've made you think. Now, you may have the direct opposite opinion when you're done thinking about it, but you thought about it. That's all that matters. And then and you know what else? When you think about shit, you are able to flesh out your opinion. Um, on whatever the hell it is in your head,
Yep.
and you will sound because so many people. I hate that. Why? And they can't answer you.
Yeah.
I hate Trump. Why? Well, he's this, 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 and this, and then you prove every single one of those things wrong. And one of two things happen: they have nothing to say, and they just stand there like a deer in the headlights, or they just continue on because it doesn't fit their narrative to have anything proven to them. And you also, the most important part of all of it, this is the last thing, is you have to be able to admit either you're wrong or to change your opinion or whatever, because when you're wrong, and there's no point in going through life wrong if you can help it. We're wrong enough.
It's not fun.
It's just like today. Started my day out just like normal, and then I reminded myself I got to go out and vote today. So I went out, casted my ballot, and you know, did I make a difference? I don't know. We'll find out when the results come in, and but at least I did something. I wasn't sitting on my ass
Yep.
complaining about this and
Yep.
doing that. I studied the stuff that was going on, and yeah, there was a lot of people whose names on the ballot that I didn't know who the hell they were or nothing. I don't know if they were Democrat, Republican, Mexican. I don't know. So those I kind of went over, but the main ones that I wanted to get involved in on the ballot, I made damn sure I casted my ballot, and we'll see how it turns out tomorrow morning when I
Yeah,
get up.
Florida had an election too, not in our district. It's a special election because the guy who had the seat in the House, he with the Trump administration. I can't remember which Waltz his name is. Who's Waltz? Which one is he? He's a secretary or something.
Well, Rubio had a seat, and he's from here, isn't
Well,
he?
yeah, but I think anyway they had the thing, and Republican won. And we know that already, which is the difference between a red state and like where Chuck lives, which is very blue.
Blue.
Maybe in 6 months we may find
Blue.
out after they've gotten enough votes to get the Democrat in. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
no shit. Yeah.
and it could go the other way too. But who knows? The
Who's
problem.
dinging?
I don't know. Not me.
I'm hearing.
I think it
Okay,
was
I'm
me.
hearing a
Oh,
ding. Sorry.
Dave is
I think it was
Ding.
me.
Ding Dong Dave. Yeah, that's his name is Ding Dong Dave.
Yeah.
That and you two need to buy some WD-40 for your freaking doors.
I
So
do.
Chuck, that
We-
back
we
door
do.
is creaky. It sounds like a haunted house.
I think it's funny as shit because I'm thinking every time it does that, more skeletons are coming out of Dave's closet. You know?
Or his head. One of them two. We don't know.
I bet
But yeah, I don't know.
to beat those skeletons back in the closet.
One thing about it, doing all this is it doesn't take much, and you meet some pretty good people from all over the country, and in some cases, different countries. You know, like we know Larry. We used to know a lot of people actually back in the day from many different countries who turned up, and you learn stuff about. And here's what I learned: all Western countries, they're going through the exact same thing. It may look worse in England because they're so much smaller than us, but massive immigration and crooked politicians, all the bullshit.
All over the world.
Conservatives, actual conservative people being, lambasted and roasted and so forth, and we're all in the same boat. Something big is coming, and it's rolling down. It reminds me of that thing, that big rock that came after Indiana Jones in the first one. It's coming.
Yeah.
You better figure out a way to either get out of the way of it or figure out a way to stop it. And it's going to take every one of us. There ain't going to be no sideline sitters, I can tell you that, because them people ain't going to last.
True.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I've said I got a feeling that the shit's going to be hitting the fan soon, and be prepared, as best prepared as you can be. I mean, I took my generator out today. It's a 2,000-watt generator or whatever, and turned it on, and it was still at 99%. But I run it down, a little bit, and I let it charge itself back up to keep that cycle on there. Because the first generator I had, I just bought it, charged it up, put it in the closet. 2 years later, I go to, check on it, dead, completely dead, no good. So,
I need a battery for mine, but I can pull it, but the damn thing almost rips my shoulder out of it. I've never had any kind of small engine was so hard to pull on the pull cord. But
get yourself an electric start. Oh wait, that won't help.
It is electric start, but as you said, if you don't charge the battery goes dead and will not recharge. Now, here's what happened this time. This is pissing me off at me because I'm pretty sure I threw the battery away that I had in it because I didn't remember taking it out. I'm pretty sure I was going to leave it in the house because it's more of an even temperature, not in the ice cold or the really, really hot, and then charge it every so often. I had it sitting on this pallet and with the rest of the dead batteries, and I'm pretty sure I picked it up and took it and threw it away. Okay. So I'm trying to charge the generator up, and it charged for about 6 hours. I go to push the button, nothing happened. I was like, holy shit. And so I need the numbers off the battery, get a new battery, and I removed the gas tank, and I saw a bunch of wires, but nothing was attached to it. And that's where the battery goes. And I was like, holy crap. So there's another $30 I got to spend, just to make my life easier. And that's all it is. Because
that's another Jerry moment. That's all.
Yeah.
Another Jerry moment.
If I would just finish one job a day, I'd be much better off. I swear to God. It's like I do this today, and then I can finish that in a couple of days, and then a week goes by, and you finish. You still ain't finished, and you're doing 3 other things, and that's the problem. Anyway,
as I said earlier, sometimes I sit before when I'm inviting people on and I'm going, come on, Jerry does this 6 nights or 4 nights a week for himself, and he's got to take care of him and his lovely wife Michelle and the critters that are around there and the truck and this and that, and then gotta have some time for yourself too. But make sure you take some time for yourself every day.
Time for myself is never a good thing. It's better.
But I mean time to relax from doing
Well, I do it after the show. I sit in my chair, I watch TV, I eat dinner, and I go to sleep. Usually for 2 hours, and I'm awake again. Last night I didn't get to sleep hardly at all. RLS got me all night, and I can't sleep with that shit. And it is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I've had a lot of bad shit happen, but RLS is literally the worst thing in the world. Anyway, Dave, I gotta go. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I was going to say you might hear some whining in the background too because
Yeah.
the Chihuahua has to swallow a horse pill.
And Dave's got to end the broadcast here because it's time to watch General Hospital.
Yeah.
No. That's
Wait,
well,
what?
maybe I don't know. No. I'm going to watch Meet the. I'm going to tell. We're going to stop saying General Hospital and say I just have to watch Meet the Press from Sunday. Then Jerry won't be
I
so.
swear, I thought he was going to say beat the clock. I swear I thought that was what he was going to say. I ain't
There was
heard
a game show called Beat the Clock, wasn't there?
There was a beat the clock, yeah.
I think so.
You
Yeah.
had to do these stupid tasks in a certain amount of time, and there was a clock.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I'm going to tell you, some of the best broadcasts are when someone can look in the camera and say something stupid that just makes Jerry fall off the chair and lose.
Well, you guys do that all the time. So
We do.
and,
Chuck's good for that.
I understand stupid better than I understand anything else. So please, thank you for letting me on, and I appreciate it. We'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow night, and
we will see you tomorrow night.
We'll do it again. Take care,
guys.
Thank
you, all right, Jerry.
Everybody, comments. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry Michaels, the host of the American Rebellion, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Everybody in the chat room knows him. If you don't know him, then you're in the chat room. Like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So adjust yourself accordingly. Chuck Cook is there. I'm there. A lot of times, Robert Glovin, the Batman will pop in and be there. Jen Woodruff, the homeschooling mom, will pop in a lot. I got two names that I can't mention because they don't do it anymore. Just popped into my head, but and I'll get in trouble. And I don't want to get in trouble. I got enough trouble today anyway with that. But want to thank Tina Scott. Want to thank Chuck. Want to thank Tina Scott, Robin Brunson. I'm reading Jane O'Malley, my buddy. I'm glad that Jane popped in. Chuck's got to go because he's got to reset the slot machine so his grandkids win a lot of money tomorrow.
There you go. All right, Dave. Thanks for the invite. Everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. It was a good show. Michael showed up, and I learned a lot of stuff tonight. Definitely learned, and that's good. Whenever we can learn something, that's good. Yep. So everybody stay safe. Anybody, thoughts and prayers are out for anybody that's having some difficulties and relatives and whatever. And God bless. Talk to you. Bye.
Thanks, Chuck. One of these nights, we're going to have Chuck on, and we're just going to play all this music that we don't have the permission to use the copyrights on and see how many songs we get away with before Facebook kicks me off for life. All right, Chuck. Thank you. We do this Monday. We do this Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m., like I said, and then you can catch us all on the American Rebellion Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. We take Sunday off, only because we take Sunday off, and maybe somebody else will start doing it on Sunday, and we'll all join you on Sunday. But I've said many times, if you have thought about doing something like this before, it is stupidly easy, for lack of putting it better. It is stupidly easy. You do not need a whole studio full of fancy equipment. I've got a Windows 11 laptop. I got rid of the Chromebook. Windows 11 laptop. I do have a snowball mic on a stand on the side here, and a couple of Android tablets that make my life a little bit easier to do it. But it's really incredibly easy. It really is. And it's not expensive. So and as I always tell people, if you want to do it, do a few with me, and hopefully you come on to the American Rebellion and do a few with us, and before you know it, you might even want to do it yourself. And if you do, you do. I am looking for anybody who wants to come on, regardless of how long, to join me Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern in the morning to do what we did tonight. do what we do on the American Rebellion nights, but at 10 a.m. in the morning for those who can't do it at 7 p.m. in the evening. So if you're interested, let me know, and I will have you on. You can be in the live chat. You can be on the broadcast. We're also live on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel over there on YouTube. We don't have enough subscribers to worry about pennies from heaven from YouTube, and I'm not really worried about pennies from heaven over there. But we're over there, and you never know where we may pop up, working on some ideas to get us on some other social media networks at the same time. And you can all be a part of that. But you've been watching Boogie with the Bull Tuesday night Uncensored, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. I don't know what that means anymore, but it sounds good when everybody else says it, so I started saying it. Again, I want to thank Chuck Cook for being here, Jerry Michaels for being here, Michael Anthony for being here, Jimmy Collins for watching, Tina Scott for watching, Larry Burns. No one is mad at you at all, Larry. No one is mad at you at all. None of us. I just wish you would come on if you want to come on. Please join us. Tell me to shut up so that you can talk. You're more than welcome to join us at any time. Jade O'Malley, thank you for watching. Danny Campbell, thank you for watching. Danny Campbell and William Grant fight each other for who has watched the most Boogie with the Bull broadcasts in the almost 7-year history of Boogie with the Bull, of which I can only find 4 years of it on tape. But anyway, so I appreciate them watching. Danny Campbell is a man of a few words. He used to come on and just type in hello. And we really appreciate that. So Danny, I appreciate you watching when you can. And as I said, you watched for a long time. Robin Brunson watched. I was in the live chat because Michael Stewart, who watches off and on when he can, when he's not working, was in the live chat, and I wanted to thank him for being there, and Jolene Kirkland Foster, and just about everybody. Matter of fact, I think the American Rebellion's audience comes and joins me Tuesdays and Thursday nights. So bring a friend next time, and we'll see if we can get more people watching. If you like the broadcast, please share it with a thumbs up. If you didn't like the broadcast, share it with a thumbs down, and make sure I see why you didn't like it, because it is important to me to try to bring in things that people think we could do better. Because again, none of us are quote unquote professionals doing this. Some of us have a little bit of experience doing it in the past. Yeah, I did radio 40 years ago, but yeah, I was in the limousine business 35 years ago too. So, everybody does what they did in life, and some of us are here just because we enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing it. I like having people on. I don't like to be the only one talking. So be in the live chat and talk at me, or be on the broadcast and talk with me. I think we covered everybody. Tomorrow is Wednesday, is 10 o'clock. Actually, we're not doing the 10 a.m.s this weekend, except maybe for Friday, which is Red Friday, where we take time to salute the men and women of the United States military. We may do Friday. We didn't do Monday because I overslept, and we probably will not do Wednesday because I don't have enough ready for it. So please watch me Friday morning at 10 a.m. for the Red Friday morning caffeine edition of Boogie with the Bull. And like I said, if you want to join me, join me. I hope we see you on the American Rebellion tomorrow night with Jerry Michaels and Nikki Young and everybody who is over there. Everybody in the live chat watches it all the time. Jane O'Malley does, Jolene Foster does, Larry Estes does, Larry Burns does, Jimmy Collins does. I appreciate all you people coming here and watching us Tuesdays and Thursday night. But, it is not always politics. Sometimes it's great when it's not. Sometimes it's great when it is. Do not ever feel that you can't bring up something in the live chat if you're watching that is not politics or is politics. Bring it up, and we'll do our best to work it into the script. or come on, like I said, come on the broadcast. I'm kind of begging and pleading, so anyway, I'm going to end the broadcast. My wife gets mad at me a lot when I go to end the broadcast, and I spend more time ending the broadcast than the time of the broadcast. But we did a little late tonight. We went after 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. We're coming up on. So anyway, I want to thank you. And then, like I said, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on the American Rebellion blogger page, the American Rebellion blogger page here on Facebook, perhaps somewhere on X. Go to, when we're on, go to X and search AMRAB, AMREB. Bring it up because there's a bunch of numbers on the end of it that I can never remember. But search AMRAB and then follow it, and you can watch the broadcast there on X. And with that, I think we've done it all. Done it all with everybody. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Thank you. On that note, I'm going to fly up and hit this one. Double V's for victory.